Coming up on the county line, musical sounds are coming from the Tower of Old Main. We take a journey up the tower to see the Carillon. An historic gem is revealed on the Westminster campus. The Thompson House takes us on a journey to the past.
And in Titantown Sports, we look at how a minor league football team owner who lends a helping hand to those in need. We're local.
The county line starts now. Westminster College is known for its history.
And New Wilmington is a great place for farming and fresh produce.
Hello and welcome to the County Line. I'm Shana Marty.
And I'm Amanda Conway.
The Thompson House's history at Westminster goes back as far as the 1800s. English professor Evan Garrison was one of the residents during her college years. Garrison tells us her story about the Thompson House and why it leaves a special place in her heart.
So when Thompson House was open for housing as a housing option, for the most part, seniors were the women who got in. And so my senior year, or the spring of my junior year, several friends and I got 2 rooms, a double and a triple, so that we could all be together in Thompson House and not live in a dorm. One of these friends had been dating a guy named Chuck Wilmore. Josie was my friend's name. Chuck and Roman, my husband, were very good friends and lived together off and on, or in the same hall or the same suite. And for some reason, Roman and I had not met each other. Roman spent his days studying and his nights playing ping pong, and I spent most of my spare time hanging around the stable where my horse lived. So we just didn't run in the same circles. A week before graduation, Roman's hair was naturally curly and at least down to his shoulders, if not longer, and he knew that his mother would be very upset if he graduated with his hair that long. So he asked Josie to give him a free haircut. He came over to Thompson House to get that free haircut, and that's how I met Roman, on the fire escape and out back. We liked being away from the sort of communal bathroom, communal long, dull hall, the noise that other people made. We wanted to make our own noise. It felt more like independent adult living than a dorm does. And it just had a lot of charm. It wasn't particularly well decorated. It was kind of run down and a little shabby, but so were the dorms. And we liked it for that kind of shabbiness.
The Thompson House was built during the Victorian period in 1884. Westminster then purchased it and became a sorority house 70 years later. Thompson House was inducted into the National Register of Historic Places during the mid-80s. The Thompson House now serves as residence for juniors and senior women. And later on in our show, we sit down and talk with another former alumni of Westminster College, Wendell Wagner. The mayor of New Wilmington talks about his life here at Westminster.
Britton Lake is another great landmark that the college is famous for. The lake spans over 15 acres on the southeast part of the campus. The lake was constructed in 2 stages in 1951. It was named in honor of trustee J. Frank Britton, who financed the project. The lake also harvests pondweed mechanically by using a mowing machine. That machine is used each summer when the lake takes a special makeover. Gemco's weed eater machine moves across the lake and collects the pondweed. The pondweed is then used in a composting station on campus. The weed eater machine is an alternative than treating the lake with chemicals.
Coming up, we take a trip back to Egypt to see Pesid the Mummy.
And the 70-year-old Carillon of Old Main is not just a musical instrument, but a signature of the college. We will be right back.
The bells of the Carillon ring all around the campus. You can hear them during the day or at Vespers on the weekends. Videographer Thomas Miller takes us up the Tower of Old Main to learn the musical instrument of the Carillon.
It looks totally different than any other instrument that is out there. It most resembles the organ because there's footwork and handwork as well, but on the Carillon there is 2 different sets of handles, and the top set is the sharps and the flats, so the accidentals, and the bottom part is all of the naturals. So it's set up like a piano keyboard, except it's basically sticks instead of keys. Well, it's very different because everybody on campus can hear every time I play. So every time's a performance, everybody can hear every mistake that's made, and so it's kind of nice because every time I do play, people can hear me, and so it's kind of nice to know that. And also it's got a lot of history behind it with the college, so it's just a really unique instrument to play.
Any small finger techniques, it's pure physical labor to bang out those bells, and with both the feet and the hands, and it is really very helpful in getting rid of aggressions.
Well, I didn't actually know it was an instrument. I just, I thought it was bells up in the tower that just rang out every, 15 minutes. But then I found out that it was actually an instrument you could play, and I thought that that would be a really cool experience and something that not a lot of people get to do because there's actually not a lot of carillons in the world.
The original 12 bells of the carillon was a gift to Westminster in 1930 by William and Mary Duff. The bells were originally crafted for the Delaware DuPont Estate Gardens, but were never installed due to the Great Depression. Then 23 additional bells were acquired, bringing the total to 35. The bells ring every 15 minutes in New Wilmington and on the campus.
Pessa the Mummy is a very well-known treasure at Westminster. The 23,000-year-old mummy has lived at Westminster since 1885. She was donated by Reverend John Giffen, a Westminster graduate. Pessa was purchased for $8 and shipped to the United States for $5 back in the 1800s. It was believed that Pessa lived up to the age of 70 years old. Pessa has lived in 4 different places on campus and including many other sites around the area. She now resides in Mack Science Library in the Hoyt Science Center.
Coming up, a mini horse is a great friend and animal. We look at why one lady just loves these small animals.
And the mayor of New Wilmington sits down to talk about his life as a mayor and his time at Westminster.
Has actually been in my family since 1861. I'm the 5th generation on the farm here.
And we look at a local produce market that is almost as old as Lawrence County. Stay tuned.
The Apple Castle is a great family-run business since 1861. The 147-year-old farmers market is a place to get local fresh produce in our area. We take a look at the family-run business and why people come to the history-making business.
It's a family business, the Apple Castle. My dad started the original Apple Castle sales room in 1950, and then we built the sales room we're in now after I came back to the business in 1982. Now the farm has actually been in my family since 1861. I'm the 5th generation on the farm here. So we went retail, like I said, in 1950, and we've just developed it and worked on that. So that's why we're in business, is to try to keep the farm, the family farm going and make it a viable option to stay in the family. Well, we have fresh pasteurized cider. We make our own donuts here. We have our 2 specialty donuts, the apple spice and the honey wheat. We have jams, jellies, sugarless jams and jellies. We have apple butters, relishes, honey, a lot of neat farm market items, maple syrup, cheese, and there's a whole lot of stuff in there. Sometimes I don't realize how much stuff we do carry until it's time to reorder, and it's like, oh, we've got this to do and that to do, but we got a lot of unique farm market items in there.
Here, and we come every year to get apples because they have great apples and they have the best apple cider.
I think we have some great personnel in the store, some great help. We try to give you the service that you want or people want and expect, and the quality and the freshness.
And to find more information about their history and fresh produce, visit www.applecastle.com.
New Wilmington is famous for its farm produce, but also for its cheese house. The New Wilmington Cheese House is a great tourist attraction that is located only a couple miles from the Apple Castle. The family-run business has been a tradition since 1975. It started out as a small Amish schoolhouse and was later moved in the mid-'80s to where it now stands. The Cheese House has a variety of 100 kinds of cheese for customers and offers local crafts from the Amish around New Wilmington. It also provides patrons with a variety of imported specialties from every part of the globe. New Wilmington is a great place to live and a great community for everyone.
The mayor of New Wilmington, Wendell Wagner, sits down with the county close-ups Thomas Miller. When Wagner talks about his life as mayor of New Wilmington and his college years at Westminster.
Hi, I'm Thomas Miller, and welcome to the County Close-Up. I'm here with Mayor of New Wilmington, Wendell Wagner, and we're talking about his life at Westminster College, and him becoming a mayor here at New Wilmington. Thanks for joining me.
You're very welcome. Glad to be here, Tom.
First question, I'd like to talk about. Tell me a little about your childhood and where you grew up.
All right. First, I'll give you a little background on the family because we are everywhere here. It's a very, very large. My family. My great-great-great-grandparents arrived here from Liverpool in England on July 22nd of 1829 aboard the Britannia. I have a copy of the manifest actually with them listed there. And they had 8 children here. Those 8 children then had 30 children. So we started out, and this is all in the northern section of Lawrence. It was Mercer County then, but now it's Lawrence County, part of it. And so we are married into every family in this territory, and that's why this is my home. I was born in Fayette, which is about 3 miles from here. Moved to New Wilmington when I was 5, so I go to school here, and graduated from that 12-room school up there in New Wilmington, and have never left town excepting to go to the military for 2 years while I lived, and my wife and I lived outside of Paris. It was a wonderful experience for 2 years, and she taught school for the Army.
Okay. Tell me a little some of the childhood experiences that we remember that are very, very memorial for you.
I think it's the friendships that you develop. I remember when the leaves were coming down, this time of year, we would rake leaves and hop in and out of the piles of leaves. It was low key, very low key. We did have later, we had a movie theater, which was big to us in this little town.
Okay, now switching gears a little bit, I know you were a student here at Westminster. What was your major here?
My major was economics and business. I have a BBA, 1955, but I minored in speech and radio and no TV at that stage of the game, and English.
Tell me a little experiences about radio here at Westminster when you were here.
I worked radio. It was in the basement of the library. Very, very low power. You could probably hear it never out of town. I think that was it. But we did a lot of radio work, and then I did a lot of little theater work in the speech minor.
Tell me other experiences you had at Westminster that are very appreciated for yourself, and you remember them a lot.
Well, of course, number one is the education that I received. I think the caliber of the faculty, it was superb. Then on the other side, fraternity life was really my basis for my social life here. I met my wife at Westminster. KD she was a SIG Cap, but the KDs were right next door, and there's always a great battle between those two. But and she just died in 2005.
Now switching towards the town of New Wilmington, how did you become mayor of New Wilmington?
Well, I've always been involved in politics. It's a known thing in our family that you give service. And my father was a founding member of the fire department in New Wilmington, also a New Wilmington borough councilman. And my brother was a borough councilman, my uncle was a borough councilman, I was a borough councilman. And then I moved on after that to become a county commissioner, one of the 3 governing people in the county of Lawrence. After that, I retired, and I always supported Curly McCrum, who was for 28 years was the mayor here, and I always did his petitions and everything for him. And he finally one year said, "Wendell, I think it's time for me to retire," and would I take it? And so I ran that year and have been there. I'm completing my 7th year right now. I will have to run next year if I choose to run.
Okay. Why did you have to become a mayor of New Wilmington? Why did it intrigue you?
Executive work always intrigued me. I'd like to be the head of something. It's like when you were a county commissioner or being as mayor. You have a little authority. At least you can put some of your things into play.
Okay. Final question I have is, what makes New Wilmington such a great town or borough of Lawrence County?
It is a small town and still dates back good many years yet, but yet we're handy, like to Pittsburgh. That's our cultural center. I can be down there to the symphony, to plays. We have all of that here without the big drug traffic. Now, it's not all clean. I mean, we have some problems, but we have the access, and this is kind of a place you can walk at night if you want to without much fear at all. So.
Yep. Well, thanks for joining me, Wendell, for this interview.
I'm happy to do it, Tom.
Well, we've been talking to Wendell Wagner about his life here at Westminster, in New Wilmington, and about Westminster, and about him being a mayor of New Wilmington. Thanks for joining me.
Coming up in Titantown Sports,
create funds to help people who do not have that kind of money.
we look at how a minor league football owner lends a helping hand to those in need. And we take a teenager's point of view of flying 5,000 feet in the air by using a glider. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to Titantown Sports. I'm Melissa Maines. We first start off flying high in the sky. Gliding is fun for one teenager at Silent Wing Soaring. The County Lines reporter Shayna Marty takes us on a trip to see the great skill of gliding.
Soaring 5,000 feet above the ground isn't your typical job, but for the gliding instructors of Silent Wing Soaring, it's just another day of work. The glider facility located in Grove City has been running since the year 2000. Workers do everything from instructing classes to providing glider rides to the public. Gliding instructor Steve Rule has always had a love for flying since his training in the Army. Now a captain with Continental Airlines, he'll take off in anything, whether it's a commercial airplane or just a glider.
I find it extremely interesting. I really enjoy instructing, enjoy teaching, and it's also a special pleasure in taking people up that have never done this before, and they uniformly have an excellent experience doing this.
Release hook. Good release, open hook, close hook.
A few of the workers are as young as age 15 and can already fly solo. 15-year-old Christopher Gregg has been working at Silent Wing Soaring for a year now, and he believes that gliding is one exciting experience.
It's just great, and just the thought of whenever you go up to be able to even get higher in the air without having an engine, just from the air pushing you up, it's just a great feeling and a great thought.
For these employees, instructing classes and taking 30 flights a day is more than just a job, it's a passion. Reporting for the County Line, I'm Shayna Marty.
For more information about gliders and how you can learn to become a pilot, visit www.silentwingsoaring.com. Newcastle Thunder owner Anthony Rosano is not only trying to help players pursue a career in football, he is also helping others. In 1987, he was severely burned in a fire. Doctors gave him a slim chance, if any, of living. He conquered those odds. He now owns the Anthony Rosano Foundation to help families while their loved one is in the hospital.
Whether it is the people tell you have a 0% chance to live or not, and then you survive. You know, when you defy those type of odds, you realize that it doesn't matter what people say. I founded the Anthony Rosano Foundation in, I believe it was the end of 2005, as to help put together a disaster relief fund for people and for families whose children incur tragedies that are unexpected. When there's a severe tragedy and a child is injured or a person is injured in such a way that requires multiple months and even 6 or even years for recovery, and the parents are unable to work, their mortgage suffers, their utility suffers, and they can very easily run out of money. That's the primary reason we started the Anthony Rosano Foundation, is to create funds to help people who do not have that kind of money to survive in the event of a tragedy. What our organization does is provide students or people who were academically challenged an opportunity to continue their career playing football at a chance to either do one of two things. One, maybe potentially there's somebody who can look for a pro contract. Or number two, which happens in more cases, is that it keeps the guys off the street. When they're playing with the Thunder, they're finding that on Tuesdays and Thursday nights when we're at practice, they're definitely at practice doing the right thing. And on Saturday nights, they're playing under the lights. So it's good for the community to reinforce these positive athletic traits in these guys to help them advance their lives. When I started my businesses, I realized that people would be against me. I realized that people don't like others maybe who take chances that they are not willing to take. And you face a lot of adversity. So what I learned through my accident is adversity is nothing more than a stepping stone to the future.
Good job. Good job. Good job. Way to work. Way to work. That's it.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of Titantown Sports. More County Line is on the way.
Mini horses are great animals and one of a kind. The Jones Mini Winnie's farm owner Elaine Jones says she was always attracted to the little animals since she was a kid. County Line reporter Nicole Pizar takes us on a journey of this special animal.
Do they get a little competitive? Yes. Although horse breeding isn't always the easiest job, Elaine Jones has held the reins for more than 30 years.
I was always drawn to the little ones. If it was a litter of puppies, I was always picking the runt. Litter of kittens, I had to pick the tiny one. And I heard about miniature horses, and I said, ooh, I got to do that.
Elaine started the Jones Mini Winnie's company in 1980, and now she has more than 50 mini horses on her farm. Miniature horses barely stand taller than the stall door, generally ranging from 34 to 38 inches in height. But they should not be confused with ponies, as the mini horses still exhibit full-grown horse characteristics.
A lot of people say, well, why have a miniature horse? You can't ride them. Well, you can drive them. You can walk into nursing homes. There's a lot of them that use them for therapy. Miniature horses are like, kind of like puppies, dogs. I mean, they really want your friendship, So they are really friendly.
I like mini horses. Jones's Mini Winnies. That's what I like. Whoa!
Just walking through Elaine's house shows she loves the mini horses like her own family.
We've even had birthday parties for Cinder, and nobody wanted to eat the cake after she took her bite, but we had fun anyhow. When you have horses in your blood, you can't get away from it. It's just really hard. You love them, and you just don't know what else to do. If I didn't have the horses, I don't know what else I would do.
I think I've come to realize that mini horses make the best pets. In West Middlesex, I'm Nikki Pizar for the County Line.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of the County Line.
Hope you can join us next time. We close the show with some highlights and celebration of the Wilmington Greyhounds football team. Thanks for joining us.